The moment I stepped into the restroom, the world outside seemed to fade away, leaving me alone with my reflection and the quiet hum of my thoughts. The mirror showed a woman I barely recognized, one whose life had become a routine, a predictable dance with Mark. But as I leaned closer to the mirror, adjusting my hair, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was about to change. That's when I heard it, a soft, unmistakable sound from the stall next to me. My heart raced, not with fear, but with an unexpected thrill. Curiosity, like an old friend, beckoned me closer. And there, in that moment, I realized that the life I thought was set in stone was about to crack open, revealing secrets that would change everything. But what would I do when faced with the truth? As I make my way to the restroom, the sounds of laughter and clinking coffee cups fade into a distant hum. The bean scene, with its warm lighting and the aroma of freshly ground beans, feels like a world away from the routine I've grown accustomed to with Mark. I push open the door, the cool air a stark contrast to the cozy atmosphere I've just left behind. Inside, the restroom is quiet, almost too quiet. The silence is a stark reminder of the life I've been living, where even the moments of solitude are filled with the echo of my own thoughts. I stand in front of the mirror, staring at my reflection. The woman looking back at me seems both familiar and foreign, a testament to the years that have passed since college, since freedom felt like an endless horizon. I splash water on my face, trying to wash away the creeping sense of unease. It's then I hear it, a soft, almost imperceptible sound from one of the stalls. My heart skips a beat, not out of fear, but from an unexpected thrill, a break from the norm. I pause, listening intently. The sound grows louder, unmistakable now, a mix of pleasure and urgency, muffled but clear enough to stir something deep within me. Curiosity, that old friend, pulls me closer. I lean towards the stall, my breath catching in my throat as I recognize the voice. It's Emily, her usually composed demeanor replaced by something raw, something real. The realization hits me like a wave. Here, in this moment, she's not the renowned chef, but a woman caught in a moment of vulnerability, of passion. I should turn away, give her privacy, but I'm rooted to the spot. The restroom at the bean scene is quaint, with its vintage tiles and the faint scent of lavender from the air freshener. I check my reflection in the mirror, adjusting my hair, trying to find the spark that seems to have dimmed over the years. That's when I notice him, a young black man, perhaps in his mid-20s, standing near the entrance, his eyes briefly meeting mine before he looks away. I've seen him before, working at the cafe. His name tag reads, Jaden. There's something about his quiet confidence, his easy smile when he serves customers, that has always caught my attention. Today, he seems different, more pensive, as if he's carrying a story of his own. I wash my hands, taking my time, feeling an inexplicable pull towards him. As I turn to leave, our eyes lock again, and this time, there's an unspoken question in his gaze. I feel a surge of curiosity, not just about him, but about myself. What is it about this moment, this man, that makes me want to step out of the shadows of my routine? I decide to linger, to find out more about this Jaden, whose presence seems to promise a glimpse into a life less ordinary. The door swings open, and a group of patrons enter, breaking the spell. But Jaden remains, his eyes still on me, a silent invitation to explore something new, something real. My heart races, not from the thrill of what I heard earlier, but from the possibility of a connection, of a story yet untold. I take a deep breath, my decision made. I'll approach him, not just for the sake of curiosity, but my heart races as I step closer to Jaden. The noise from the cafe fades into a distant hum. Without fully understanding why, I reach out, taking his hand, and lead him into the women's restroom, pulling him into the last stall. The door clicks shut, and in that small, enclosed space, the world outside ceases to exist. I look into his eyes, searching for any sign of hesitation, but there's none. Instead, there's a mutual recognition of something forbidden yet irresistible. I lean in, my lips meeting his in a kiss that's both a question and an answer. The kiss deepens, and for a moment, I forget Mark, I forget our life together, and I'm just Jessica, caught in a moment of pure, unadulterated desire. The thrill of the forbidden sends a rush through me, a feeling I haven't known in years. Jaden's hands find my waist, pulling me closer, his touch igniting a fire that I thought had long been extinguished. Our breaths mingle, the air thick with the scent of lavender and the heat of our closeness. As our kiss intensifies, I'm acutely aware of the implications of what we're doing. Here, in this confined space, every sound, every movement feels amplified, the reality of our actions echoing off the tiled walls. The thrill of being caught adds an edge to our encounter, making it all the more intoxicating. But with each passing second, reality begins to seep back in. The consequences of this moment loom large in my mind. What will happen when we step out of this stall? How will this change things? The thought of Mark, waiting for me back at our table, brings a pang of guilt, but it's quickly drowned out by the rush of adrenaline, the raw need to feel alive, to feel wanted. Jaden pulls back slightly, his breath heavy, his eyes searching mine for something, perhaps an assurance or a sign of regret. But there's no regret, only a wild, reckless abandon. We're both caught in this moment, this bubble of desire that feels like it could burst at any second. I whisper, we shouldn't, but my actions betray my words as I kiss him again. The kiss ends as abruptly as it began, leaving us both breathless. Jaden steps back, his expression a mix of confusion and guilt. I shouldn't have done that, he murmurs, his voice barely above a whisper. I nod, unable to find words, the reality of what just happened crashing down on me. We exit the stall separately, ensuring no one sees us together. I return to my friends, my face flushed, my mind racing. Sarah and Emily are too engrossed in their conversation to notice my turmoil. I sit down, my coffee now cold, my heart pounding with the weight of my betrayal. As the afternoon wears on, I try to engage, to laugh, but my thoughts are elsewhere, replaying the kiss, the feel of Jaden's lips, the rush of adrenaline. The warmth of the cafe, the chatter of other patrons, all seem distant, like echoes from another world. I glance over at Jaden, now back behind the counter, his movements mechanical, his eyes avoiding mine. The guilt gnaws at me, but so does a strange exhilaration, a feeling of being alive in a way I haven't felt in years. Sarah's voice pulls me back to the present. Jess, are you okay? You seem a bit off. Her concern is genuine, but I can't bring myself to confess. Instead, I force a smile, just a bit tired, I guess. Didn't sleep well last night. Emily, oblivious to my inner conflict, continues her story about her latest culinary adventure, her voice animated, full of life. I nod along, but my mind keeps drifting back to the restroom, to the moment when everything felt possible, when I was not just Mark's wife, but Jessica, full of desire and longing. The question lingers in my mind like a shadow, will Jessica confess her indiscretion, or will she keep it a secret? The weight of this decision feels heavier with each passing second. I imagine telling Sarah, her shock, her judgment, or worse, her pity. And Mark, how would he react? The thought of his hurt, his disappointment, makes my stomach churn. I take a sip of my now lukewarm coffee, the taste bitter on my tongue, mirroring the bitterness in my heart. The day winds down, and I find myself back home with Mark. He's in the kitchen, his back to me as he talks about his day, the mundane details of work and the new project he's excited about are shared. I watch him, this man I promised to love and cherish, and the guilt gnaws at me like a persistent ache. Yet, the memory of Jaden's kiss lingers, a sweet poison that I can't bring myself to confess. Dinner is quiet, the clink of cutlery against plates, the only sound filling the space between us. Mark senses something off, his eyes occasionally darting to me with a look of concern, but he doesn't press. I excuse myself early, claiming a headache, and retreat to our bedroom. Alone, I sit on the edge of our bed, the weight of my actions pressing down on me like a heavy cloak. The room is dark, save for the soft glow from the streetlights outside our window. I replay the kiss in my mind, the feel of Jaden's lips, the rush of adrenaline, the forbidden thrill. It's intoxicating, yet it's tearing me apart. How can something that felt so right in the moment now feel so wrong? I lay back on the bed, staring at the ceiling, the silence of the room amplifying the turmoil within. Mark's gentle knock at the door pulls me from my thoughts. Jess, do you need anything? His voice is soft and caring, stabbing at my conscience. I'm fine, just need some rest, I reply, my voice barely above a whisper, hoping he doesn't hear the tremor of guilt. He doesn't come in, respecting my need for space, but his footsteps linger outside the door for a moment longer than necessary. I know he's worried, and that knowledge only deepens my sense of betrayal. Lying there, I'm torn between the life I've built with Mark and the fleeting moment of passion with Jaden. The question that haunts me is whether I can keep this secret buried, or if it will unravel everything I hold dear. Weeks pass, and life resumes its predictable rhythm. I see Jaden at the cafe occasionally, our interactions now strictly professional, tinged with an unspoken understanding. The kiss remains our secret, a moment out of time that neither of us acknowledges. Yet, the guilt doesn't fade, it transforms. I start to see Mark in a new light, appreciating his kindness, his patience, and the life we've built together. The incident with Jaden becomes a catalyst for change, not in confessing, but in how I choose to live my life moving forward. I decide to focus on what I have, to nurture my marriage, to find excitement in the everyday. The kiss, while a mistake, has given me a new perspective, a chance to rediscover love in the familiar. Mark's laughter, his touch, the way he looks at me with such warmth, all these things I had taken for granted now feel like treasures to be cherished. I begin to plan little surprises for Mark, like cooking his favorite meal or leaving love notes in his lunchbox. We start to go on walks together, just to talk, to reconnect. Each step we take together feels like a reaffirmation of our commitment, a silent promise to each other that we are worth fighting for. But the memory of Jaden's kiss lingers like a shadow. It's not just the thrill of the forbidden that haunts me, but the realization of what I could lose. Every time I see Jaden, there's a flutter in my chest, a reminder of that moment when I felt alive in a different way. Yet, I push it down, knowing that the life I've built with Mark is what truly matters. One evening, as Mark and I sit on the porch, watching the sunset, he takes my hand, his touch gentle and familiar. "You've seemed different lately," he says, his voice soft, searching. "Happier, somehow." I look at him, the man who has stood by me through thick and thin, and I feel a surge of love mixed with a pang of guilt. "I've just been thinking a lot about us, about how lucky I am to have you," I reply, squeezing his hand. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment if you enjoyed this story. This will help us create more engaging stories for you.